Okay, so today I got a fun little video for you. This is my Ibanez Jem Jr. and I'm making a few modifications to it, but the biggest one that I want to focus on is this Gotoh GE 1996T upgrade. I'm really excited about this. The biggest weak point of this guitar here is the trim. The base plate of the metal, which I'm pretty sure it's a little bit of both, but it's just weak. I find that this just doesn't hold tune well. Like if I go for a dive bomb and then pull back up, then or if I go for a dive bomb and let go for it to come back, then it will stay flat. But then if I pull it back to go sharp, then it stays sharp. All right, so here it is, just a little flat. But now, I think it's just because I stretched it out. Now it's even more flat. I dive bomb. That's even more flat. And so you can see how it's not the same. It should be returning back to what it is, what I tuned it to. So this guitar has been a real pain in the butt to tune. And that's honestly unacceptable, not fun. So I purchased this from Amazon for about like $107. That's basically what I'm doing. I'm also going to be moving this volume knob to here, and then removing this tone knob because I don't need a tone knob on this guitar. And then I'm going to be putting in my push to exit button here as a on-off like toggle switch. So similar to like how you see kill switches installed in guitars, it's going to kind of act like that. I thought it'd be kind of fun. The funny thing about this is I didn't even plan it like this. I just got this out of a building and that I work in, and I was like, oh, I could definitely use that in a guitar. So it's a very similar color to the Steve Vai Jem that he has. That's the same color, similar pickups, and then it has the Steve Vai original fretboard on it, and then it has green tone volume and 5-way switch tip. So anyway, that's enough rambling. I'm gonna get on to installing this, and potentially might do other things in the meantime, including the kill switch. So yeah, hang tight with me as I work on these modifications and get it all done. So here's the old one with the old screws. I'm going to set it over here off to the side. Or the old springs, I mean. Alright, and then there's the screws. I'm probably going to have to remove it. In some videos I've seen, they remove... You have to remove these to do this properly, and I agree, because I can actually try to show you here. Wow. Okay. So let's see. Come on, focus up now. There we are. So to do this properly, you do need to remove the old posts, because you can see that copper line right there, how the post is black and then that copper line interrupts it, and that's where you can actually see a big chunk right there. That's where from this I don't know if it's copper or not, but it's where from this breaking down on me. And also, yeah, I mean, look at that chipping out right there. I mean, it's kind of sad, honestly, especially if this is a retail $500 guitar and it's got this issue. Like, I mean, look at that. That's bad. I just remember whenever I first got this guitar and I took it apart to clean it and looked at this and I put it back on, I was like, shoot, did I do that? And whether I did or not, it's still pretty frustrating that it's like that bad. And oh man, I mean, look at that. Let's see here if I can try to get it to focus up. But I'm just trying to get you to see. There's just a big old chip in that. Wow. I'm trying to give you contrast. But all that being said, it's really bad that this is just that cheap of metal to do this on, like I said, a $500 guitar. I mean, I know some people are like, oh yeah, it's to be expected, but honestly, no, that's not acceptable, man. Not in my book. So anyway, I thought about doing something like a Floyd Rose special, but I already have a Floyd Rose special in another guitar, and I have no problems with it. Although it's widely thought to be hated online for similar problems of being cheap metal. I just saw that Gotoh was a cool alternative, and I mean, I think it's super neat. It has the Japan, Gotoh Japan, because it's made in Japan, right there, says it on it. But pretty stinking neat. Oh man, that's like almost perfect. So hopefully I can just pop and swap this. Let me not get all this stuff confused. Oh my goodness. Look at these chonk boys. Holy cow. Oh yeah, I mean, already you can see a substantial difference. Where did I put that? Like, just these two alone. I mean, look at this. Quality, tough, big, and neat. I feel already so much better about this. So, cool. So this is the Gotoh one here, and I'll get these stems out. I'll actually show you how I do that in this video. Cool. It comes with 4 screws, some Allen keys. Oh, is this for? And another thing I'm really looking forward to with this, check it out. Pop-in bar. Dude, I love a pop-in bar. I think I've really grown to like this versus the screw down. Like, man, just push it in. You set the tension to what you want, and it's like, it doesn't move, or it can be floppy. Man, these things are sweet. Really like them. Okay, I'm back. So, the thing I was trying to show you earlier was I made these, which is just a nail that I cut, like a household nail that you put lumber in with. And I cut it and I rounded off the edges so it wasn't sharp. And then what I do is I will, and you don't want it to be sharp because I've done this with a different kind of thing before, and then you'll like mar up the side of the posts, screws, if you ever want to reuse this. I doubt I'll reuse it, but I don't know. I just hate to just throw it out. So anyway, so I put it in there, as you saw. I got this from Giant Guitars, his YouTube channel. And then I just proceed to screw, and then it will pop out. I'll get a different angle here in a second whenever I do the other stud. And then once this is here, there it is, it's out. And before I show the other angle, let me give you a quick side-by-side of these. I mean, look at the beef on these. I mean, seriously. That's wild. So, I will have to drill this hole out more, but that was to be expected. From this angle here. So now I'll screw this. Okay, and then pulls right out. And this is definitely the cleanest way I've seen to do this. You leave very little marks inside of it. And if you do it right, you don't mark up the side of the walls, the screws, the threading of the walls for the screws. And that's why I sand these down, so that way it's not like messing it up. But yeah, there it is. Alright, and just in case you've ever wondered what the inside of a Jem Jr. looks like, routing wise, here you have it. So you're kind of stuck with HSH. I mean, obviously you can do single, 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 but unless you route out this pocket to give you HHH. But I really like the way the stock pickup sounds, so I don't think I'm going to change those anytime soon. Alright, and the last thing I wanted to show, because I need to do this for myself, but I wanted to measure with calipers the difference. So this is 11.1, so probably roughly it's supposed to be 11 millimeters. Let me see, am I zeroed? Yeah, I am. Okay. And then 10. So it's 1 millimeter difference, size difference. So I will just need to widen this by 1 millimeter in the center, or at least I'll do my best. But there you have it. So I'm going to try to do all that stuff off camera, just because I'd rather do it without having to film it, because filming it makes it a lot more tough. And then we'll get to it. Okay, so I just got done drilling this guitar out and then pressing in the new Gotoh posts. And honestly, this part was the most nerve-wracking and the toughest. I had to come back here again. I'm not in my house, obviously. I'm in a workshop, but I had to press in these bearings. I had to drill them out first to make them a bigger size and then press them. So I would 100% recommend you doing this on a drill press. So that's what I've done, and I honed them out with a 27/64 drill bit, because I was the closest to 11, but still giving me the pressure. And I was honestly afraid whenever I was at home putting these in. I had to come back here and just do it again to get it a little deeper. But I was afraid I was gonna crack the wood. But it's a very snug fit. But now they screw right in, and I'll take this guitar home and put in the trim. The other thing I wanted to note too is that these collars stick up just a little bit on each side. It's not a huge issue by what I've read online. I was making sure, because otherwise, I mean, the collar goes to like right there, the depth of this. And so I was like, oh shoot, is that a bad thing? I also nicked the guitar right there. But anyway, I also redid the electronics so I can do my normal 2-wire connection. The ground leads connected to the ground of the input jack, and I got no noise. So I really like doing this because it makes making changes to your guitar, especially if you plan to mod it, a lot easier, because it's just a 2-wire connection you just pop. But anyway, that's that for this, so I'll be back in the shop next. One thing I've done before putting on the trim is I've painted this cavity here, and then I've also gone and tightened down these screws right here. And that's really, I'm really thankful I did. Whenever I was looking up videos, someone mentioned that they did that whenever they put theirs on, and they were glad they did, because it was out, or it was not out, but it was like loose. And I'm glad I did too, because this was definitely, the screws were definitely out and needed some tightening. So I'm glad I did that. I'm gonna finish putting on this pick guard here, and then I got the button installed, and yeah, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit before I put that on. And then I'm gonna go through and actually clean up the fret ends a little bit and get things ironed out, because yeah, it's not 100% to my liking. So that's where I'm at right now, and I will keep you updated. Okay, and also before I put this on, I thought I'd get a side-by-side showing these two up close for you. But the two bridges, first and foremost, the block on this Gotoh is just way bigger. Let's see here, I'll get an angle there. So you can see that's a 36, and this is a 34 block. It's a brass block, which is awesome. I'm going to get way better resonance out of this. And it's because brass itself is a more resonant metal than this cast iron crap. So I've tried that on different guitars that have trim systems in it. I've actually replaced the block with brass, and I've just found personally through my own things that the brass does a lot better, resonates way more. And the acoustic properties of the guitar, if you play it unplugged, is like it's like a little more chimey and sweet. So I really like that. The other thing I thought I would mention is, or show, is this right here, this angle. So here you can kind of see where the differences are. The Gotoh is a little smaller, but it's going to have no problem fitting in that pocket. And then the spots where the studs are line up on the Gotoh, and it's nice that it has this little flat part there for if it's not perfect. But yeah, just the quality of this comparing to this, it just, the Gotoh feels so nice. So I'm excited to put this in here. And then the last thing I'll say about the studs here is the studs actually have a brass, if you can see it in there, it's like a brass screw that you put an Allen key inside of the Allen key hole. So you put a smaller Allen key in there, and you can actually adjust it. So once you have these poles to the height that you want, then you actually put an Allen key in there and you lock it. Okay, so I thought I would get a better, closer view of these stud locks and how they work. So deep within there, you can kind of see it shining, but there is a little brass screw, and it looks like this inside of here, and you can see it poking out on the tip there. And so you'll insert the smallest Allen key that they give you into it, and then you'll screw it, and you'll start to see it peek out. I got the guitar all done up here. I have the Gotoh trim on it, and pretty stinking sweet. So yeah, I'll kind of give some final thoughts and opinions on the matter and tell you a little bit about what I've discovered with this. So this is by far the one of the best tremolos I've ever used. The fine tuners are really smooth. Stays in tune overnight on the wall, which I don't know. These Floyd Rose systems are like, if they're well built and well designed, then they're known for like staying in tune really well, and that's the case with this, where it wasn't previously with the other bridge. So I'll kind of go over a few points. Obviously, you can see that I added in this kill switch mod here, which is just kind of silly, but kind of fun. And then I removed the tone knob and put the volume knob here. So all that being said, I'm not going to do pros and cons because I think that's like too much of like a list. I just want to tell you my thoughts on what I thought of putting a Gotoh bridge in, specifically this Jem Jr. Now, all guitars might not be the same, and they won't be the same, I can already tell you that. But if you have a Jem Jr. that you're looking to upgrade, this is an awesome upgrade, but with the caveat of it does require specific tools and experience to some degree, or a friend who's like very confident with woodworking tools. So one major tool, you can do it without it, but I really recommend doing it with a drill press, because not only do you get straight holes whenever you're drilling out these posts to make them bigger, to fit the new posts in there, but you also get to use the drill press to actually press the posts in rather than trying to hammer them in. I tried hammering them in, and it did not work. So I did a ton of research before I went through with this, and to be honest, it was pretty challenging. There was just a lot of pressure I was putting on myself and on this guitar to be like, I wanted to do it right, because I really like this guitar, and I did not want to mess it up. So there were times where I was like, I'm done for. What have I done? Whenever I drilled it out, so I think I'll put the drill bit size that I used on screen.
so that way you know which one to do. But basically, the previous posts were 10 millimeter, and these are 11. And I just did the US, like the SAE version under 11 millimeters, which is the number on screen, and that's what I use to put the to drill this out, and then it was a snug fit with that. So I looked at a ton of research, and people did install this without putting in these official Gotoh posts. And the biggest issue that those people were running into that didn't just leave a review and be like, yeah, I just used normal posts and whatever. It's like, really the biggest issue that they were running into that actually came back and had a long-term review said that the posts were wearing out, they were too small, and these are just so robust. Everyone that said that they spent the time, the effort, and drilled out these posts to fit and pressed the correct Gotoh ones in, they said that they just last, they're solid, and I'm here to back that up in terms of just like how absolutely solid and how much of a unit this is right now. The Gotoh trim is so well built. Like, it is just well machined parts, well thought of. The post, the little like blocks that you push against whenever you're holding the strings in place don't fall out. It's like thought of to where they just don't fall out whenever you like tilt the guitar up on accident. The tuning posts did not need oiling by me. I did not have to oil or lubricate these in any way. They were just smooth right out of the box. This is a push or a push-in type of tremolo arm. It has like this weird, this is a random side note, it has this weird piece here where I can like detach it and actually take this off. I don't really know what this does. And there's like screws on the bottom. I think you can screw this bar in. But yeah, I'm not really sure why that is. But the whole unit here is just solid. And then the post locking is like key. So lastly, I'll just kind of go over just how long it took me to do this. It took me around 6 hours or so. Now, I'd say 2.5 to 3 hours was me doing the posts, partially because I did not measure the old posts before I removed them. I should have measured the height at which these came up just so that I could set these a lot easier. I did not do that, so I had to spend a lot of time doing that. I had to intonate this. Some people had good luck with it just already being closely intonated, but I did not. So I had to intonate this, and that's a process in and of itself. And then, yeah, just I had to go back to the drill press because I had to push in the posts into the body. And then I took out the little like pad that was underneath this and painted it black, so I had to let the paint dry, stuff like that. And then of course I went and fixed up the fretboard, and I took care of some fret ends that were some sharper fret ends that were making their way out, and then sanded or flattened off some of the tall frets, and then sanded it all back and rounded it and stuff like that. So I did some extra fret work, and then obviously some electronics work with changing some things around there. So altogether it was 6 hours, but if I were to have only calculated my time working on this, it's like 2.5 to 3 hours. But that's because I was meticulous. I made mistakes. I didn't measure things that could have saved me time in the future. So that's really how that goes. And this guitar is an absolute unit. I love it. So that being said, it does the dive bomb thing. It does all the fun stuff. Stays in tune, and the intonation is nice, and it just works, man. Lastly, I just want to show this guitar flutters like no one's business now. It's incredible. I just have 2 springs in the back holding it in place, the 2 springs that came with it, and man, this is incredible. Check this out. Wow. Yeah, incredible guitar. So, totally worth it. I like it. Thanks again. Bye.